Hello, my name is Mike Abrzewski and I'm from Hyde Park and I biked across America. I trained for the trip by biking pretty much my entire life, just a little bit from when I was young. But the year that I did take the trip, in the spring, I did only one other bike trip that was about 50 miles. So I did not do much actual training before the trip. My uncle suggested that I should bike across America more as a joke than an actual thing, and I took it a little bit more seriously, and between my first and second years of college, I biked across America. Paid for the trip mostly from money that I saved up myself, and I got some help from my parents to pay for the trip. It was about $5,000 total cost, including the flight over and bringing the bike over to California. Most of the cost was from food, and the second most cost was from hotels and motels and camping. States I went through on my trip were California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, biked into Tennessee, and then right back into Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, up into Maryland to go around Baltimore, up into Pennsylvania a little bit, then back down into Maryland, and down into Delaware. And then in Ocean City I crossed from Delaware into Maryland, where I finished biking to Estes Island. It took me about 40 days to do the entire trip from San Francisco to Estes Island in Maryland. I did about 100 miles a day on average. When I first started in the mountains in California, I only did about 40 to 50 miles per day, and as I started to hit the more flatter areas of the country, I started to do upwards of 100 miles, upwards of 120 miles sometimes. The longest day I did was 172 miles in one day. For the most part, during the day I would kind of get up around 6 or 7. Then I would just take about a half hour, get ready, eat breakfast, and hit the road. Keep biking until lunch, take a break every hour or so to drink water. And then after lunch, bike until it started to get dark, and once the sun started setting, I would look for another place to sleep. I spent pretty much all day, every day, biking. About 10 to 14 hours every day. My least favorite state was Kansas because it sucked. It was very, very flat, and I thought I was going to have a tailwind the entire time, but the winds had changed, so I ended up having a headwind that was about 20 to 25 miles an hour, which is a lot on a bike, and so it became quite a pain. Also, it was very, very flat and kind of monotonous, and there was points where you couldn't even see trees or buildings anywhere. My favorite state to be in was California, because it was just really beautiful, and there was the ocean and there was the mountains, and San Francisco, which is the city I stayed in for a week before I actually left to go cross country, was very clean and a lot cleaner than New York City. It had a lot of different kind of climates, which was very interesting. It wasn't New York climate everywhere. I had some mountains, had some snow in the middle of summer, and had some deserts, including Death Valley. In other parts of the country, it was a lot more laid back than in New York City, because New York City is rush, 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 and a lot of these smaller towns, people were just kind of sitting on their porch, not really rushing anywhere. Traffic was fairly light. Also, the types of cars that were driven was a huge difference. There's not so many luxury European cars, it's mostly old American cars that are beat up and rusted. I will be biking across the country again. My brother plans on doing it in a couple of years, so I'll be going with him so that way he can't one-up me. And we'll be taking a route that's slightly different, so I don't go through the exact same states and routes that I took the first time. The most memorable part about biking across the country was coming out of Yosemite National Park. It was coming off of an elevation of about 10,000 feet and going down to back around 2,000 feet. The view was just spectacular, and there was a huge mountain to my right, and down on the left was a huge cliff, and I hit about almost 60 miles an hour going down, which is kind of insane on a bike. If you want to do road biking for yourself, there's a lot of great trails around here. There's some down at Poughkeepsie, some down out in Amenia. They're all excellent. You bring little kids and everything because there's no traffic or anything on the trails. There's also lots of good back roads to take out kind of north and west of Poughkeepsie and north and east of Poughkeepsie as well. So there's a lot of good areas around here to ride your bike.
Oh no, I broke my pancake.